Venezuela political opposition has won a landmark legislative election and delivered a major defeat to President Nicolás Maduro and the almost 2 decades of socialist ruling that started with Hugo Chávez, Nick. And this is very important. We have 96% of the votes counted, and this gives 99 seats as they stand versus 46 seats of the United Socialist Party. 22 seats are still up in the counting, which gives a big possibility to the idea that the opposition might have supermajority in the legislative house, effectively rendering Maduro pretty much just a loudmouth.
Yeah, you know, this could be seen in a lot of ways as the beginning of the end for President Maduro. You know, he came into office, I guess he was elected, but you know, he came in and there was really high hopes for him. He was kind of riding the wave of Chavez, right? He was good friends with Chavez, so a lot of people had high expectations for him. It didn't go as he expected. So I think, you know, he has 3 years left in office. I don't think he's going to get reelected. I think he's lost the support of a lot of people in Venezuela. So like I said, perhaps the beginning of the end. Maybe when his term is up, it's up.
After saying that he will never allow the opposition to get control of the legislative body, now he came to national TV and accepted the defeat, saying that, you know, it was the influence of imperialism that defeated him. But the reality is that Chavez benefited, as well as Maduro, from the boom of oil. The fact that there were $100 barrels allowed them to create these subsidies for the people and create these populist policies in the country that for many years allowed to bring income inequality out of the equation a little bit, but at the same time, after the crash of the oil industry, we see that they couldn't keep that up. And the economic unrest was the driving force for one of the biggest turnouts in an election in Venezuela. We're talking about 75% of the population came out to cast their votes, and that's historical, and that's very important because it also shows a changing tide in the whole continent. We see Mauricio Macri in Argentina being elected, defeating the Kirchner-elected candidates, showing that also, like in Brazil, Dilma Rousseff facing impeachment and with a single-digit approval rate. So we see that in the continent, this pink tide that started with Evo Morales in Bolivia, of socialist parties, populist governments, little by little is kind of being reversed by more right-leaning parties and coalitions in the case of Venezuela that trying to bring economic benefits to these countries.
Right, and you know, I think it's a trend that's going to continue because, you know, these policies might have worked temporarily, or at least might have seemed like it did for at some point under some leaders, but you can't continue in that same path. I mean, the corruption, the cronyism that is alive and it is just doing so much destruction in Venezuela it's just sad to see. I mean, people don't have the basic necessities, toilet paper, for example. The supermarket shelves are bare. I mean, the people and the fact that so many people came out to vote in itself is telling the people are tired, they've had it up to here, and they're ready for change.
An example for all of the people in the United States that are going to go out and vote. If you don't go out and vote, your voice will not be heard. Now we know that about 85% of Venezuelans are against the government of Nicolás Maduro, and now we know that they are willing to go out and vote, and now they have a different majority in the legislative body of Venezuela.